Hey there, it's Dr. Margie Smith with the Micropractice. One of the most common questions that I will get from patients or potential patients is why I won't accept their insurance or why I am not a provider in their insurance network. Now, when I get ready to answer this question for patients, I come at it from a couple of different perspectives. I come at it from actually two different perspectives. I come at it from a business perspective and I come at it from a patient care perspective. And I really want them to understand that the decision not to be a provider isn't just simply because I just don't want to be a provider. There really has been a lot of thought that has gone into this decision-making process when I opened this most recent practice that I have. Now, most of you know by now that I am a micropractice owner, I'm a micropractice promoter, which means that I encourage those who want this style of practice to go for it, right? A micropractice is a practice that is low overhead, high profit, and low stress. And so when I started this practice, a handful of years ago, I really came down to just a really big check-in decision about what am I going to do with insurance. In my previous two practices, I was in some insurance networks. In my first practice, I was in all of them. In my second practice, I was in just a couple. Now, I don't belong to hardly any insurance networks. The only network that I am a provider for is Medicare, because I do want to see those Medicare-aged patients. So now, where did I come to the decision, and how then do I explain it to patients? So in my experience, for example, I was finding that the insurance was reimbursing less and less, and the total money that I was receiving for whatever the charge was, that percentage was getting less and less and less. And so just to see what had been trending for the last 15 plus years in my career, the assumptions you can make is only that that trend is going to continue, which is worse for us in the long run. How are we supposed to make a living if we're only, getting a handful of dollars, per adjustment or per office visit or however it's being structured? I also, from my own personal perspective, wasn't crazy about being looped into the insurance game, right? Gosh, the hassle of having to have a separate staff person or outside billing company to submit the bills. And then if there's an issue and they get denied, then we have to resubmit again. And then what happens if they get denied over and over? Yes, now, of course, do I have to do that with my Medicare patients? I do, but that's a handful of patients in my practice versus the far majority of my practice are cash pay out of their own pockets, right? So when I start to get ready to answer this for patients, I don't go into this much detail per se, but I go into this detail for those of you watching because maybe you're ready to open a practice and are on this, on the fence about having insurance or not accepting insurance. And it's always easier when you can hear somebody else's experience, because then you can simply take my answer for your answer. If somebody ever asks you, why you don't accept insurance, you can then say, well, this is the experience my colleagues were having in chiropractic, and I just didn't want to follow suit, right? So I'm ready to talk to my patient, ready to answer them, and like I said, I come at it from a business answer and a patient care answer. From a business answer, I simply tell them this. I say, listen, I am a chiropractor, but I also am a business owner, and I need to make decisions that are going to be right for me and my business. As a business owner, I know what it costs for me to see a patient in my practice. That means I know what it costs to have my lights on, to have, a space that we're in, the equipment, all those things. I know what my per visit cost is for a patient. Now, what we were finding with some insurance networks was that actually what I was going to be reimbursed for was lower than my per visit cost. So you can see, as a business owner, I made the decision not to be a part of the insurance networks because ultimately I was making no money. And I would love to give away my services, but at the same time, obviously I can't do that. I can't sustain a business. So you can see how it made it really tough for me, just a private practice chiropractor, to be able to fall into that model. Now, maybe some of the larger clinics are able to do that because they're able to offset some of the other costs with larger spaces, more practitioners, etc. But the way that I practice, I just knew that it wasn't going to be a sustainable option for me as a business owner. Now, me as a chiropractor also decided to not accept the insurance because I ultimately could not give the same quality of care that I enjoy working with my patients. I enjoy spending time with patients. I enjoy getting to know all of their concerns and going through very thorough examinations and consultations and visits when they come back in. And I expect and would prefer to get paid appropriately for those versus, again, getting these minimal reimbursements, which ultimately would make me see patients less often because I would have to see more patients in the same amount of time to then make the same amount of money. So ultimately, those are the main reasons why I don't accept insurances, and I'm not in any insurance networks. And I have found that I've been able to give much better quality of care and really ultimately help people better because I do it on my own terms versus what the insurance is or isn't going to cover. Now, at this point too, or somewhere in the conversation, I always will say to the patient, you know, you as the patient, you're the consumer and you're willing and you're able to use, you know, you're able to go to whatever provider you want to and pay for it however you want to. So if using your insurance is, you know, an ultimate, like, you must do that, then let's talk about it. And I know some other great chiropractors in the area that I can refer you to. But ultimately, no, I am not going to be joining any networks. You know, I haven't been in networks for years, and it's been working out just fine as far as being able to take care of patients, high quality of care, without, again, having to stress about the constraints of the insurance networks. Typically, as soon as I start talking to patients about the business portion of it, and they don't realize how little chiropractors can get reimbursed, that's typically enough for them. I don't even have to go into the how much time I get to spend with patients portion of it. So you obviously don't want to come off too much about it just being money, 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 but at the same time, you build up your reputation in your community based on the value that you provide patients. And if you could provide a high quality valued service, they're not going to care if you're going to accept their insurance or not. I have plenty of patients who have fantastic chiropractic coverage with Blue Cross or Aetna or Cigna, and they can certainly go to a different chiropractor for sure, but they choose to come because, again, of the high quality service that they know they're going to receive being a patient of mine. All right, I hope that was helpful, and hopefully the next time somebody talks to you about why you're not in their networks, you'll now have some great tools and some great tips as to why you avoid them and how you can build a better practice and better health for your overall patients in the future. This is Dr. Margie Smith again with the Micropractice. I'll see you all next time. Thanks, bye.